Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech Podcast series. This is Lakshit Pant from Azure Developer Community. Here we discuss a lot about tech, Azure and all the Microsoft related tech. And for this Tech Podcast series, we have been inviting all these industry leaders to learn from their experiences, how they are building in the market, what's going at present in the market, and how the new emerging tech like generative AI is shaping the market industry, right? So in order to learn better, we have our industry expert, Mr. Yashraj Vakil, sir. He's the CEO of CaptainBiz. And from his experience, we'll try to understand what's going in the market of business accounting, inventory management, and online billing software. So just to start with a quick introduction of Yashraj, sir, if you could introduce yourself first.
So I am the CEO of CaptainBiz. CaptainBiz is primarily a digital billing product for MSMEs. And what we're trying to solve for here is the problem of digitization in India, where we are saying that, a lot of MSMEs in India are still using pen, paper, register to manage their inventory, manage their stocks, manage their billing, their purchases, and there's a distinct amount of push from the government to kind of move towards digitization, so that more and more people are kind of organized. The government can monitor them. GST collection kind of goes up, which ultimately improves the entire business process in India. And so there is significant amount of push from the government to do that. There's also a lot of initiatives coming from the government, which is obviously we all know called Digital India. And there is significant amount of interest among MSMEs, small businesses, to kind of digitize. And one of the biggest challenges that we are facing, when it comes to these MSMEs, is they don't know where to start. And as part of CaptainBiz, we are basically making it easy for them to start their entire digitization process by digitizing their billing, the bills that they raise from their clients, and the bills that they send to their customers who walk into their shops, or any business for that matter. So that is what we do. What we do at CaptainBiz.
So, what do you believe? What has been the common pain point for all these MSMEs and SMEs, right? When is it about the technology that do not have, or maybe is it about the talent, maybe? So, what it is about, like what has been the challenge for them to swift after the digital economy? Yeah.
I think the challenge has been the complexity for them to actually move to digitization. So it's very easy to say that we will digitize, and it's very easy for enterprises and large companies to say that we want to basically move to a digitization, and we want to start moving away from paper and stuff. But when it comes to small businesses, they are so ingrained into their own day-to-day operations, managing their stocks, managing their customers, handling phone calls, handling one or two people that they have employed in their office. It becomes very difficult for them to pick up a computer, pick up a mobile phone, start learning a new software, start learning a new process, and then having their mind to keep doing it every single day, and not get bothered by the fact that they're not understanding a few things, how to do this, how to do that, and then they would just leave that aside and go back to pen and paper. I think that's really been the challenge. It's not a problem of mindset. It's a problem. It's also not a problem of adoption. It's a problem of habit. How do you basically get these MSMEs into the habit of digitizing their operations? And I think that really has been the challenge.
Wow. So when we deep dive a little bit into this industry, right? How has the technology, you believe, what are the steps for any MSME industry, right, to get started with the Captain Biz tool, and what all are the product and service category that you provide them, in order to start with the product, right? Sales.
So one of the first things that they can really do is start raising invoices digitally. So even today, in the name of digitization, a lot of MSMEs go to Microsoft Excel, and they have a format built in, and they would basically fill in the details, and they would send that to the customer. That's not digitization. And because you actually don't have a record of that. So what they do is then every single sheet becomes a new invoice, and that's how they actually keep a tab on who they have raised an invoice and who they haven't. And that is something that needs to change first. So what we do is, we tell them the easiest way to actually for them to start going into digitalization is start raising digital invoices. And that's the easiest thing. That's the first step. Once they're kind of used to that, once they know that how to do this, once they've created their parties, once they've created once they've understood the product, then we kind of tell them that once you understand the basics, you should move into inventory management, where we tell them that whatever stock you have in your store, start uploading that stock, start putting in your stock in, stock outs, so how much you're purchasing, and how much you're selling, what's your profit and loss on a daily basis, all of those things. So these are the two primary steps that they need to take. Obviously, to do that, we make it a lot simpler for them. Like, for example, in our company, we actually have a lot of customer success representatives who speak local languages of the states. Like, for example, we have people who speak Oriya, Bengali, Kannada, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, all of these languages, Marathi, Gujarati, all of these languages. Because what you realize is a lot of these MSMEs are not necessarily from the largest cities. They're not from the metros, and sometimes they prefer speaking in the local languages. But even if they understand English or Hindi, there's always a better understanding, of the local language. And so they speak those languages. They help them. They help communicate. It helps communicate better, and they kind of customize their invoices, to the MSME's needs. So what we've seen is that MSMEs, when they want to start digitizing, they want to make sure that every single paper invoice that they have raised or have been raising, they want the digital experience to be the same. So they want their invoices to still look the same. They want the same logo in the same place. If they're religious, they want whichever god they worship. They want the name of that god to kind of come on that invoice. So we kind of help them in the entire process. They also want the invoices to look like the same tables, the same formats, in the same way the GST is calculated. They want everything to be the same. So we actually help them bring their paper and their offline experience into digital, so that they don't feel that there is a change happening, and neither do their customers, because they also want the customers to get the same experience. So that's how we kind of help them. We help them get started on their template customization, invoice template customization. We help them. We teach them how to raise invoices, not only physically. Also we have a very large sales team as well, and sales team actually doesn't behave like a salesperson. They actually behave like a consultant. Where they actually go and sell to the customer. They demo the customer to the product. They actually give hands-on training to the customer who they are onboarding. And once that is done, we have a backend team which actually calls them to confirm that they've understood everything, gives them an online demo if required, customizes the invoices, helps them into their first invoice, and then going into inventory. So there's a very large handholding process that needs to be done before they actually raise their first invoice.
Wow, but I believe that's a fun work and again tedious work to do, but you are doing a really great stuff, right? So, sir, when we, because you work with all these MSME industry, when you talk about, right, I just wanted to understand from you how much open these industry really are, because you are not only catering to maybe any tech specific, right? You are spread it over maybe all these tier 3 cities or maybe lower cities, right? So how open these industry, these people are when it comes to adopting the new tech, especially digitization. So because we have frequently seen some people do not want to be digitized because they the old methodology, the traditional ways, they just want it, like, though I understand when you say about the making the same experience as they are getting from the in person, they want the same experience digitally as well. But how much open they are, have you seen? What are the challenges do you see in that first call to action, sir?
So, yeah, to answer your question, yes, there is a lot of resistance from MSMEs. There's not only resistance, but there is also procrastination. So, if you kind of reach out to them, they will say that just hold on to it, not today, come to me tomorrow. If you reach out to them tomorrow, they will say wait for it, come to me after 2 days, after 4 days, and there's procrastination. There is resistance, and this resistance and procrastination does not come from the fact that they don't want to digitize. Okay, there is definitely a reason and a want for them to digitize. The problem is that there are actually two issues. One, the large issue is that now they have to start paying for a software. that they've never needed to pay for. So what they were doing on pen and paper on a register, which really costs nothing, now they need to pay a certain amount of money at an annual basis to kind of use a product. Because honestly, paper and pen is not the best way to manage your stock, to manage your invoicing, to manage your accounting, to manage your tax filing, GST, and make sure that you're doing all of this right and you don't get fined, through GST because of wrong filing. So all these things are very, very critical, and that is the reason why they kind of need to digitize. So there is a small amount of investment that they need to do, both in money and in time and mindset. And now,
Okay.
why I said mindset? Because, like I said earlier, the resistance comes from the fact that they need to change their methods. They need to start doing something new, something they have been doing for many years. They need to start doing new, and I think that is one of the challenges. What we've also seen is that if the business is old and has been running for a long time, we've also seen that when a younger person or a new generation kind of takes over or is beginning to take over, they are a lot more receptive to digital billing and invoicing and inventory management, and they kind of start this entire process, and then ultimately they would probably give it to one of the people working in their company, to their accountants, who would then kind of keep managing at a daily basis. And what the businessman then gets is at the end of every day, they get a ready idea of how much business have they done, how many units have they sold. Because without a product like CaptainBiz, the only way to do this is maintain it on paper. If I want to know what is my daily sale, the only way to do that is maintain it on paper, or maybe on Excel or Word or something like that, or to actually make sure that you make entries in your accounting software at the end of every day and get a ledger out. And that is extremely complicated. And for a business person, they are not necessarily always an accounting friendly. They're not accounting software friendly. They don't necessarily have access to the accounting software. It's probably with their accountant or with the CAs. It's not possible to keep generating new ledgers every day or every other day for that matter. It's just a lot of work. So there are a lot of benefits to doing this, and we are slowly being able to convince all of these MSMEs to understand the benefits and convert them.
Yeah, because maybe the younger generation would better understand the importance of tech that is putting together, and the scaling always can always be achievable after adopting the tech. Now, because you have worked in this industry a couple of for these many years, right? What are the emerging trends that you have seen, innovation that you have analyzed in the invoicing and accounting industry? Definitely one is going entirely paperless, right? What something other that you have observed that is something that is quietly, maybe slowly or gradually changing the industry, sir?
Yeah, actually, we haven't reached the stage of innovation. We are still at the stage of adoption. So we need to get people to adopt the product a lot more. But the innovation really is coming from a standpoint of managing business better, or managing tax filings better, and that is really coming from the government in the form of e-invoicing and e-way bills. So it's a very nice and gradual process that the government has gone through over the years, where they have slowly got more and more businesses into the e-invoicing and e-way bill regime. Where initially they started, they were saying that any business that does business of more than 20 crores, they had to raise e-invoices. And when I say e-invoices, that means that every invoice that the customer is raising, they need to kind of get that uploaded onto the GST portal and get a QR code, which basically becomes the identification of their invoice as a genuine true invoice. That threshold came down from 20 crores to 10 crores. Now that threshold has gone down from 10 crores to 5 crores. And the government has a lot of, and with every decrease in threshold, more and more businesses actually enter this mandate, which means that the pool of people who need to raise e-invoices and e-way bills is growing almost every I would say 12 to 18 months. And eventually it is so going to happen that if the government is going to make it more and more necessary for smaller businesses to raise e-invoices and e-way bills. And that will basically that's basically is what is assisting a lot of digitization, as well as and this really is is innovation in a way. because not only is e-invoicing is great for business, but the way we are doing e-invoicing in India is also very easy as compared to some of the other countries on how it is happening outside India. So yeah, this really is what I would say is true innovation. But again, the most important thing right now is we are at an adoption stage. Innovation is something that'll keep happening.
One more thing, sir, that might be a follow-up question to the same, right? Is there a way by which the organizations who really wanted to adopt, maybe these as MSMEs, SMEs who want to adopt this tech, right? Now they have a stack of files, some word papers, right, with them, which holds their all the data and data points, right? Is there a way by which they can, instead of filling it manually, is there a way by which, maybe through OCR, through AI, is there a way by which solutions by which they can do eliminate that, automate that tedious task and automate something that would generate some, at least some output for them? Is there a way we can look after these? Because when we go to multiple hackathons and all these events, right, there are students who are bringing these OCR things, computer vision, projects, using all these things, right? But are there real life solutions which really caters to this problem?
So we need to understand, in what situation you would actually require something like this. So, for example, let's talk about OCR. Like, that's one example you give. Now, when it comes to OCR, a situation would come. Say, for example, the financial year started in April, but the MSME started digitize in October. So the
Right.
MSME would say that, look, I have my bills all the way from April to September, which I need to kind of upload to CaptainBiz. So in that case, we would actually help them. Now it really depends on how many bills do they really have. If they have a small number of bills, it can be punched in very easily. An Excel can be created. It can be uploaded. It's actually simpler than OCR, because OCR is not always accurate. Plus,
Right.
I'm sure you would have gone to a Kirana store. I don't know any OCR software that can read that handwriting.
Right.
There is absolutely no way that OCR is going to work on that kind of handwriting. So that is the other challenge. So,
Wow.
while technology looks great, the real life application of something of that sort, into digitizing an MSME is not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
Wow. And is there any solution after working all these years in the industry? Do you believe, is there any other solution, starting from one point to another, or maybe just helping them from the same point? What would work, sir?
No, I think what would work is to basically convince MSMEs into actually digitizing, and for that, they need to be told about the benefits that they can enjoy, if they actually digitize. So, for example, if you maintain your bills correctly, if you don't even if you don't have any other asset papers or anything of that sort, it becomes very easy for you to kind of get a loan, because you can actually take that as your inventory as your locked capital, and you can actually get a loan against that, which helps you manage your working capital, which helps you manage your business, which helps you scale up a lot faster, which helps you stock a lot more, and obviously accordingly sell a lot more, because you don't stock out. So loans becomes very easy. So that is one of the things that you can do. Plus the fact is that if you digitize, then there's a good chance that you'll be filing your returns on time, you're filing your returns correctly. You'll be sending your bills to your chartered accountant in a much better manner, instead of them coming to you and saying that mujhe paper kyun de rahe ho. And we've actually seen that happen. I have visited so many MSMEs across the entire country, from slums to the large cities. I can Everybody fears their chartered accountant, because they say that, यार वो यहाँ पे आके हमको गाली देते हैं, बोलते हैं पेपर क्यों दे रहे हो. And I think that is something that that really has to change. And I think that adoption is something that needs to happen.
Right. And while we discuss about all these association and all these invoicing industry, right, I definitely believe there will be, the question would be like, what role do industry association and regulatory bodies play in shaping the standards and, the, maybe I'll say, the practices of the invoicing and accounting industries?
I think they create fear among MSMEs to go digitize. And I think that really works for everybody. It works for them because then they don't have to go and scan through every single paper bill. It works for the MSMEs because they are scared of them to say they want to digitize. And it kind of works for a product like ours, because ours is a great product for MSMEs to use and start their digital journey, start raising invoices, and start managing their accounting. So I think in these industry bodies are doing a great job, and they need to continue doing that into pushing these MSMEs into saying that, boss, I will not accept paper bills. If you want to work with me, you send me digitized bills and you send me a digital statement of all the business that you've done, or PDFs for that matter, that I can review. And that's life will become a lot more simpler for everybody in that case.
And any if you can provide an example of the industry or maybe the sector which has been a little bit lucrative in some sense, or maybe adaptive in some sense for this particular tech, or maybe that from the Captain Biz perspective where you have been very successful or beneficial for them. Any sector you have identified, maybe it can be healthcare or with
No,
what
so we actually target a lot of distributors, traders, manufacturers, retailers, for that matter, service providers, and we really are targeting the bottom of the pyramid, which at this point in time is the largest and probably the most untapped. And we've seen a significant adoption on that front. As far as the mid tier, the enterprise segments are concerned, we don't necessarily target that segment. Like for example, the customers who might be able to afford an SAP like solution, that is something that we don't interact with. There is a lot of adoption on that front, but MSMEs, in these 4 or 5 categories primarily is what we've seen, is
So
where
I just wanted to ask, like, which in all these 4 5 categories inside MSME, which part has been more adaptive towards the tech?
I think distributors, actually all of them, distributors, retailers, manufacturers, and actually we are, and having met a lot of these people, I can tell you that the product actually resolves issues for each of these categories at different levels. Like for example, if you are a manufacturer, you know exactly how much you've manufactured and how much you've sold for. So it becomes a lot more easier for you to understand how much stock do you have, how much have you sold, how much is your lock stock, and how much you need to actually sell. If you're a distributor, that again it does the same thing, because you are actually buying from somebody else and then selling it to somebody else. So it helps you kind of manage that. Same with traders. Same with retailers. So and retailers especially, because they're able to generate those bills and give it to their end customers. And they can then actually show that this is the amount of business that they have done. They can go and show it to the distributor. Distributor can then show it to the enterprise. The enterprise, the product owner, basically the enterprise. The brand basically. And I think it actually solves it solves for all of these categories. And it's not like we've seen one category more interested in than the other. It's really equal for all of them.
And in your opinion, what does the how does the future hold for the business management solutions like the Captain Biz? How do you see yourself putting out these up? Because you have already mentioned it exactly. Like government has been pushing it a lot, like go digitally and through Digital India and all these initiatives that they have been driving. So how do you envision the coming years and the evolutions?
I think, I mean, it would be very cliched for me to say that digital is the future, because it really is. There is no other way forward. And,
Right.
I think, there is the whole, impetus is not only coming from the government, but the government is saying digital bano, or invoicing karo, accounting karo, but also from the fact that the fact is that they started with the whole Digital India initiative a few years back, when they wanted to kind of digitize everything. And that has kind of changed the entire mindset of the country, where everybody wants to kind of go digital, and then the government is providing tools for them to actually go digital. The guys like us who are coming in through CaptainBiz, that are allowing people to go digital. So there is a significant amount of thrust towards this space. And I think in the next 5 years, e-invoicing is going to get more and more mandatory for more and more businesses. And for all in the next 5 years, e-invoicing could also get mandatory for customer billing, which means it's not only B2B, but even retailers will have to raise e-invoices for the products that they are selling to end customers. And when that actually starts happening, there is no other way for businesses to conduct their business, without going digital. So I think in the next 5 years is going to be a massive revolution in this space.
Yeah, so maybe in conclusion, I would say all these words of invoicing, accounting, and maybe the business management is going through under a rapid transformation. It can be technology driven through market evolving marketing dynamics, through sometimes it can be through pressurized government pressures in all these bodies, right? But yeah, it's going to be there, and definitely it's going to help a lot more in terms of scaling the business. So now, because we had, due to paucity of time, lots of questions to ask, but due to paucity of time, I have to end the podcast here. Thank you, sir, for joining us for this opportunity. It was my kind pleasure to host you for this. And again, to all our listeners, I hope you understood the situation of MSME and how Captain Biz is transforming all the industry, all the MSME specifically in terms of growing their businesses with the e-invoicing and all these concepts that they are introducing. So thank you for joining us for this and telling us your insightful journey. It was my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.